Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. My name's Ben, and it's time to catch up with all the 40k news that's dropped in the last 24 hours. More specifically, the last 24 hours on the community website. Now, stick to the end because there is a little bit of an update in regards to our Imperium subscription. We've had a little bit of information through on that. But yeah, without further ado, let's jump into it. Now, Be'lakor, no one can deny, or very few people I'd imagine, would argue that Be'lakor, the new Be'lakor model is, well, it's kind of sexy, isn't it? It's fucking great. Whether you play Age of Sigmar or 40k, you know, Be'lakor, he looks good. This model came out last year. This thing would probably beat Ghazghkull out in, you know, the best model of 2020 competition, say hands down, because it is, like I said before, every time I look at this picture of this model, it's just, there's so much going on. I love it. But we're not here to talk about the model because we've had plenty of time to gush over that in the last 7 days. Now, GW have released some rules to go with the model, more specifically to do with that tasty sword of his. But there also is a little snippet there that I just want to throw out, and obviously if people in the comment section can correct me, feel free. But when there is a character in 40k that is particularly interesting, I like to go on like a 40k wiki just to look at the backstory, maybe the history of the characters, because the history of some of these characters is excellently written, whether fan-made or coming from GW towers themselves. It's a lot of it is excellent. Be'lakor's not an exception. Now, Be'lakor in the lore I'm aware of was the first demon prince, the first mortal to basically gain the favour of the Chaos Pantheon in its entirety, and like I said, the first demon prince, and with that title became like a, you know, he's been around forever in both Age of Sigmar and 40k, just making an absolute nuisance of himself, and with the kind of arrogance that goes with the knowledge that you are the first one of your sort of like type of the demon princes, and he's always come across as like an intelligent character, a powerful character, but an extremely arrogant character, selfish, narcissistic, just power hungry and crazy. And it always seems like every time he interacts with like other chaos champions like Abaddon, there's like he's never far away from trying to stab them in the back to advance his own goals. Now, like I said, the lore I'm aware of, he was always made out to be an incredibly intelligent character. You know, schemes within schemes within schemes within schemes, always operating from the shadows, rarely taking the front stage in any kind of conflict, unless it's like to deliver the killing blow. But it's always made out or alluded to that no matter how clever he thinks he is, his actions are never truly his own. Like he's constantly like a puppet being manipulated by the dark gods against, or like unbeknownst to him, which I always thought was quite compelling. This article makes out that it's not so much the fact he's a puppet of the chaos gods, more that they gave him they poured their power into send him to demonhood, and then they all kind of got bored of him and wandered off. I mean, I could be reading it wrong. It just reads a bit like that to me. I thought, oh, if they're gonna rewrite his lore, that's kind of, or tweak his lore, that's kind of a little bit disappointing. But hey, probably come out on the wash when the official codex and all the other paraphernalia around him gets released. But there is some nice new artwork on the community site for Be'lakor. But what we are here today to talk about, well, at least look at, is some of his new rules previews, the things he's going to be using on the tabletop. And like I say, it's all about that sword. Now, Demon Prince, so he's going to be drawing from the Noctic discipline, as it says there. Probably got several ways he can buff himself or make himself an absolute nuisance. But the sword itself is very, very good. The Blade of Shadows, 2 profiles, one for choppy of the multiple boys, and one for just cutting down the harder targets, as we see in a lot of these sort of bigger models. So you've got the let's call it the anti-mob sort of profile. Range type of melee, obviously because it's a sword. Strength user, which is going to be high because he's a demon prince. AP -3, so your light infantry ain't going to get a save. 1 damage each time an attack's made with this weapon. Profile, make 2 hit rolls instead of 1. Pretty straightforward. Use this one for chopping through chaff. Piercing strike, now this is a bit of a tasty one. Range type melee, strength +4, so he's going to be probably rocking against strength 10 or over. Probably strength 10 or over, not going to try and guess. AP -4, so unless you're rocking a 2-up save, you ain't getting a save. D3 +3 damage, so it's always going to be a flat 4. Each time an attack is made with this weapon, profile, invulnerable saving throws cannot be made against that attack. So you don't get an invul save against this guy if you want you dead. Now, you're still going to get things like you feel no pains, you ignore damage, all that kind of palaver. So you've got that, but as far as saves go, unless you've got like a 2-up save, you need to get a save, basically. So it's good, not quite Nightbringer Catan level good, which basically ignores everything until they FAQ it, but no invulnerable saves. So that's pretty good. I mean, there's a lot of characters out there that rely on their harder invul saves. There are creatures out there that just make nuisance, like absolute pests of themselves because they've got an invul save. I'm looking at you, Wraiths. But yeah, built to just turn them off. Very, very nice. Now, it's not just his killing power, he's also got some staying power. He's got Immortal Vigor and Shadow Form. Model has a 4 invul save. Duh, he's Demon Prince. Each time a ranged attack is made against this model, subtract 1 from that attack's wound roll. So, hardest to wound him. So, if you strength is magic is tough, you know how this works. It's going to be hard to wound him. Shadow Form. Each time an attack is made against this model, your opponent cannot reroll the hit roll. Each time an attack is made against this unit, subtract 1 from the attack's hit roll. So melee attacks, range attacks, -1 to hit, no rerolls, -1 from the wound, and a 4+ invul save. He's got some staying power, though, Be'lakor. He's not going to be shifted anytime soon. Now, I thought that they might use this opportunity to give him like a sort of Gazgul, what is it, Prophet of Gork and Mork, Necrodermis sort of ability. You know, you can only do like 3 damage to him in a given phase, but thankfully they've stayed away from that. I don't particularly, I do like the rule, but I don't like the idea of it becoming prevalent everywhere, only in very certain characters. But I'm glad they've not given that. They just give him Immortal Vigor, Shadow Form, and you know, we're only getting a small snippet of his stat line here, so he could be a lot better than this, but you know, they stayed away from that and just they've made him hard in his own right without just giving him like one rule to cheese it. But you know, that's just my opinion. Now, as far as plastic minis goes, in case you weren't satisfied, all you fans of Space Marines out there, with having small Space Marines, like, well, small as in, you know, Primaris size Space Marines, well, now GW, well, the ongoing team up that GW has with Bandai, you now have the ability to own slightly bigger Space Marines to put on your desk or your wall, well, your desk or your shelf or wherever you was. You already know about these guys. Bandai have created sort of larger sort of monopose Space Marines that you can have on desk or shelf. You know, they look nice for what they are, and now you can have a White Scars one. If you're a fan of White Scars, good for you. You've now got one of your very own to buy. I don't know about you guys, but I'm a big fan of things like Turns and Cheese Stealer Cold, but I don't know, it just don't do it for me. But hey, if that's what floats your boat, knock yourself out, you'll soon be able to have your own. Now, that's all the 40k news we have. Now, there is a little bit more of an update from our Warhammer 40,000 Imperium subscription. Now, a couple of videos ago, me, Chris and Jamie decided, off the back of basically it was like a developing thing. We looked at the Kill Team Pariah Nexus and we was like, the value's not there, and then we saw this, and the majority of the community got eyes on this new magazine coming, 40,000 Imperium, which was going to have models, paints, paintbrushes, you know, given out, and it was sort of an interesting experiment for us to undertake, because not so much in saving money, because we know the savings are there. There's multiple videos all over the internet of like a price breakdown of the contents of this subscription, but it was more personally for me how this would shape up in the contents of the magazines, and how much of a dent we can put into the cost of the end of it by selling on the things we do not want on eBay, and seeing what at the end we'd have to spend and how much we've made back, and working out how much we've actually spent on the models we wanted to keep. Now, we've had an update, and I'll read the email to you guys word for word. Dear subscriber, thank you for your subscription to the brand new 140,000 Imperium collection. This is currently a limited regional run to judge the level of uptake for the product. We have been overwhelmed by the positive response to the collection, and we are now working with Games Workshop to bring the full national launch to fans as quickly as possible. Anybody who has subscribed to the test run will not be charged at this time, and your subscription will remain on pause until the national launch date. We will be in touch directly once we have confirmation of the date. We are very excited to bring 140,000 Imperium to you in late summer 2021. Now, obviously, people are going to get this early because there is going to be a test run given out. But from the amount of subscribers that they've obviously had, that's Hachette Part Works Limited, they have obviously had an enormous amount of good feedback in the way of subscriptions. So they are going to be probably rolling this out, I'd imagine, all over the UK for definite. I don't know about in other regions, but it looks like the magazine will be coming to us in late summer, like it says there. So a couple months away yet from our first issue, but still quite interested and looking forward to this when it eventually lands on my doorstep. But that's it for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Be'lakor potential new lore, if I'm reading it right. How do you like his rules? You big fan? Not a big fan? Are you going to purchase one of those White Scars Bandai, I don't know, figures for your own desk? And have you signed up to 140,000 Imperium? Are you interested? Are you not interested? Or are you just, idly seeing how this all turns out? Whatever your thoughts, let me know in the comment section below. But until then, I will see you all next time. See you later.